Hello, hello. Welcome to our Soul's Journey podcast. My name is Lola, and it is so nice to meet you. Now, since you know my name, I'd love to know your name, so leave a comment of your preferred so I can say hello to you in the next episode. We are on episode 3, and today the topic is what you actually need to do to be spiritual. And here's a hint. It has nothing to do with any type of physical or materialistic aesthetic or things you buy or create. Over the last decade, give or take a couple years, I've seen quite a few things change in the spiritual space and spiritual community, only for the better, truly. I mean, it's grown, it's beautiful, it's loving, it's still a great space. But I really want to focus on one thing that I think may be in lack in the community, just for some people. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. It's what you actually need to be spiritual. Now, I'm going to give this disclaimer later in the episode, but before you're like, huh? This girl on the internet is telling me that I'm missing something to actually be spiritual. Has my whole journey just been invalid? Man, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. You'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean. Contrary to what you might be expecting, it's not going to be about crystals or Reiki tools or sound bowls or even the way you present yourself. I've seen over the past however many years a disconnect online and in person, though more so online, with people who present themselves and identify as spiritual people. And while I don't believe they're doing anything wrong, not at all, guys, I do think some people are missing something specific to consider when it comes to making your spirituality more intentional, which, why wouldn't you want to make your spirituality more intentional, right? Frankly, I would consider what I'm going to share with you guys today a key. A key to making your spirituality more intentional. And honestly, just living a more intentional life. After I started to follow this, I started to work more with the universe instead of against it, and co-creating and manifesting became so much easier. So, are you guys ready to learn what I know is going to help you? Let's get into it. All right. Where do we even start, guys? Do I start with crystals or candles or tarot cards or what you wear? Let's start with some context. All right. If you don't know, I've been in the metaphysical space and spiritual space for like 8 or 9 years now. I initially got into everything during quite a big transformative moment in my life, and I discovered this space on YouTube. Though nowadays I think a lot of people seem to be coming from TikTok, which is pretty cool. When I got onto YouTube and explored this space, guys, it looked entirely fucking different. I mean, the concept of shadows and shadow work, I think, was still a relatively newer term that was being tossed around online. And it was absolutely intimidating, at least for me at the time. Oh, and there wasn't much, if any, short form content at all. All the tarot readings that were on this space that I saw, and I was pretty deep into it, were all full length tarot readings. There weren't short form tarot readings. It's still new to me, even though I've made short form tarot readings. It's so cool. I'm geeking out over here. All my tarot readings that I watched when I started came from a handful of tarot readers, and there certainly weren't as many tarot readers or people who take part in divination in this space as much as there are now. And I've got to say, I love so fucking deep in my soul how much this entire space has expanded. It's so great. It's so great. I love it. I love it. I mean, everyone listening to this can really get onto any social media app, not just YouTube, and find some amount of spiritual and or metaphysical community. And generally, when we get on there, we know what most people are talking about when we throw out terms like inner self, shadow work, divine feminine, divine masculine, divinity, etc., etc. In today's world, we can go to TikTok, Insta, Snap. Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's some amount of crystal people on Snap, so I'll count Snapchat, Facebook, and YouTube, and it's just totally expanded. And now we have shorts and we have live streams. And oh my God, I just feel like we have this whole community right at the touch of our fingertips. And I mean, it was not like this years ago. It was there. The same people, the same vibe was there. It's different now, and it's grown beautifully. And just to clarify, when I say spirituality, I mean the type of journey that is individualistic and outside of organized religion. Obviously, those could be included in the category of spirituality, but that is not the space I'm talking about today, just to clarify. I'm referring to more of the metaphysical and individual journey of spirituality. And since it's expanded, I think a lot of people have really come out of their shells, which is beautiful. And they are starting to experiment and live lives that you can tell are just so genuine, from how they express themselves to what they do, how they speak, the energy they give off when they speak, especially if you're an empath, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's so many different aesthetics and hobbies and styles, and it's truly become a place of individuality in this community. I'm sure we can hear spiritual community and think of a specific look, right? And I'm talking about an aesthetic, a style, that type of look. My favorite look that I love. It's relatively popular. It's just like flowy clothes that maybe show a little bit more cleavage, or just on the more revealing side, but in a very tasteful way, where you have complementary jewelry, either crystal jewelry or statement jewelry, and natural curly hair. My hair's naturally curly, though I haven't been taking care of it. We're getting there. Remember, if you're listening to this and you have curly hair, it's a process. It's a process. Anyways, that style is it's absolutely gorgeous. It's one of my favorite types of aesthetics I see on people and on myself. But that's not what makes you spiritual. Spiritual development, if you haven't caught on to the last couple of episodes, which you should totally watch, they're listed on my YouTube or Spotify under Our Soul's Journey podcast, is essentially self-development with an inward and outward commitment to faith and the divine. Or I guess that could be considered soul development. Oh my God, I'm going to trademark the fuck out of that. Spirituality is your own individual journey that's filled with lessons and experiences you walk through in this life. It is not just a look, or just a way of living, or just a way of being. It's kind of all of them in a way, right? There's not one right way to be spiritual, nor is there a right way, period, to be spiritual. I want to repeat this. There is not one right way to be spiritual, nor is there a right way, period, to be spiritual. Okay? If you choose to say you're spiritual because of something outside of yourself, like an aesthetic or physical things, that's completely okay. And if you feel deep in your soul that that's what you're supposed to be doing, then who am I to say that's not a part of your journey? That's not my job, and that's not what I'm here to do. I am not here to change your mind, but I do want to offer another perspective into what you actually need to be spiritual. Okay? If we close ourselves off to challenging perspectives, how are we supposed to grow? It might not be comfortable ever, but I will say it may be easier to hear this in your car, just me and you, than in a discussion. What I have come to learn is what you actually need to be spiritual is a genuine commitment to your soul. Not yourself, but your soul. To live honestly and authentically in your time on this earth, and to be open to what challenges you to grow and expand the way you think and your perspective. I want to repeat that because I think that's something that's definitely going to get you thinking. It's a genuine commitment to your soul, not yourself, but your soul, to live honestly and authentically in your time on this earth, and to be open to what challenges you to grow and expand the way you think and your perspective. Do you see how that belief of spirituality can encompass all aspects of appearance, as well as your inward and outward journey? This belief system transcends any type of identity-based spiritual thinking and opens up into principle-based spiritual thinking. Leave a comment on what you think, about this, because I think this is where a lot of people can get lost and disconnect from the intentional aspect of our journeys simply because it's not talked about. I'm sure I haven't been the only one that's been in this space that has felt like they don't fit in because of how you look or what you think. So I want to tell you that the idea that there's one way to be spiritual is absolute baloney. Okay, a genuine commitment to your soul, to be honest and authentic while living your best life, is going to be so different for every single person, guys. And do you know something else? You should not be convincing yourself that your spiritual journey is about doing life the right way either. Because what's that even supposed to look like? Really, what is your life supposed to look like? Do you know? When you were born and came onto this planet, did you already know in your mind what your life was going to look like? Maybe before time on Earth, sure. I'll let you have that if you want it, sure. But once you got onto this planet and you were born, I doubt you knew what your life was supposed to look like. So don't stress. Don't convince yourself that your spiritual journey is about doing it the right way. It's not necessarily one plan either, right? It's a journey full of twists and turns we're not going to expect, with highs, with lows, with beauty, with love, with so much love, so much more than I think you can probably see right now. Okay? Don't get too caught up in doing your spiritual journey the right way, okay? Your spiritual journey, it's about living life the way you see fit, honestly and authentically to your soul. And considering we've hit the grand old number of 8 billion people on this planet, do you think that every single person's journey is going to be the exact same? If you do, I'm going to challenge you today. I want you to find a belief to challenge that perspective. Okay? 8 billion souls on this planet, not even including the souls of our pets. Do you know how many souls that is? Because I don't. I highly doubt that the 8 billion humans on this planet are going to have the exact same journeys. Will there be similarities in crossing paths? Abso-fucking-lutely, guys. Of course. Absolutely. And it feels necessary to cross paths with people on a similar journey to yours, right? Because could you imagine how lonely our species would be, the human species, if we weren't connecting with people on a soul level, vulnerably? It's a world I'm glad we don't live in. There's power in each of our unique journeys. One of my all-time favorite books that you should absolutely read has been Journey of the Souls. It's Case Studies of Life Between Lives by Michael Newton. It's one of the first books I ever read that discussed the topic of development on a soul level rather than just with the emphasis of self-development in this life only. If you've read it, then comment what your thoughts are, because this writing is absolutely magnificent. The reason I think you should read this, preferably in a physical book, but an audiobook is good as well, is because it's written as though the souls he's speaking to give objective and logical information as for our reasons for our incarnation in this life and others. Before I chose to be all confident in my approach to spirituality and how I practiced it, I kept this opinion of there's no right way to be spiritual to myself because it felt out of place at a very loud point in time in the spiritual community. This book has really helped me to embrace what has worked so well, even if it wasn't the most popular way of living as a quote-unquote spiritual person. When I had come into this space, it felt as though the goal was to really embrace your metaphysical, energetic, and psychic gifts. And that was just supposed to be the main part of your journey. Truthfully, looking back, I think that was just something that was presented to me and something that I did need to learn. But I never found much outside of that inside the community. And I think that also had some amount of influence in me not wanting to commit to this spiritual version of myself when I was a lot younger. This idea that my way of thinking in terms of our life journey was so unlike most of what was in discussion that I felt so out of place. In turn, because I didn't build up that confidence in myself, I accepted that I didn't really fit in, which was so untrue. Like, oh my God. That's one of the many reasons I wanted to make this episode today. My first kryptonite in this space was the how in practicing spirituality. Now, I've read many books, and I keep my mind a lot more open than I did when I was younger, though I did have quite an open mind when I was younger, but now it's more open in the sense of human beings as a species, philosophy. I had a pretty open mind when it came to the metaphysical side of my journey when I was younger. I think now, in today's age, so much of our focus, because of overconsumption, our ego being preyed on, and just in general the emphasis of the feeling to prove ourselves, has affected how we present ourselves online and in person, may that be an identity or an aesthetic or a style or a hobby. As I mentioned earlier, following a certain way of expressing yourself inward or outward, so long as it's true to yourself and your soul, is completely okay. Because it's coming from love. I think the boundary and line gets crossed when how you live no longer comes from a place of divinity within yourself and comes from a place of lack. In other words, choosing to overcompensate who you are or who you choose to be because of some sort of inward label and sometimes even trauma. In the last episode of our Soul's Journey podcast, we talked about honesty for pretty much the whole episode. In that time, we talked about being honest with ourselves and how to be honest with ourselves. If you choose to take on this perspective of living honestly and authentically, which has only excelled my spiritual growth, then honesty is going to become a big part of your life. There's so much power in it. It is your truth. It is your key. No one knows all of you except you, period. Your aesthetic, or what you own, or how you act around others does not hold all of the value on your journey. Your value on your journey stems from how and why you choose to make the choices you do and the actions that follow. It's also not having about more or less value objectively on your journey. It's about what's valuable to you. And you'll know it's valuable to you based on your intuition. You will know in your soul what feels right and what doesn't. A lot of what I have done to excel my growth personally has been a shift from a focus on my identity to a focus on my principles. Living honestly and authentically are some of my principles, and frankly, it's what I've needed to be spiritual. It's done nothing but change my life for the better. I know if you choose to adopt this way of thinking, then this will change your life. I don't think you even understand how much this will change your life. I wish I wish you could see how excited I am for this. Oh my God. Okay. Would love to know how this helps you guys. So please comment your thoughts and opinions. This podcast is new and I know it's going to grow, but I'm going to need your help. Share it with your friends, your family, your coworkers on social media, anywhere you do it, Insta, Snap, Facebook, wherever. Send it to someone you love. Other than that, I want you to have the most amazing day and week ever. And don't forget to give gratitude for even the smallest things. Have a wonderful week, guys. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.